All right, I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Bachah Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Moab says they'll be around another 5,000 years. Did you hit the...
Yeah, I think I got it.
Okay.
Do that.
Moab said they'll be around another 5,000 years. And this is based off of a recent video that was put up, from a few different places. I know one of the sources I saw it from was Elder Pastor's video, and other videos that pretty much brought out the same information of this Moabite dude that they were interviewing about these tariffs. And pretty much, he came to the conclusion that, you do what you're going to do. We've been around 5,000 years. We're going to be around another 5,000 years. And pretty much, he is right about, one thing, that they will be around for another 5,000 years, even longer than that. But the problem is, he's thinking that they're going to be around another 5,000 years, pretty much doing what they're still doing now. And that's not the case, all right? Because when the kingdom is established, Moab, which are the so-called Chinese, are going into slavery right along with Esau, right along with Ham, right along with Ammon, and the rest of the nations. So we're going to start off in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 9. But you know what? Before we start off there, do me a favor. Go to the info I sent you on WhatsApp and let's read about tariffs real quick. Type in, what are tariffs? And pretty much it's a tax, but the way that Trump made it seem was it was going to affect the nations that are sending their goods to America. Mm-hmm. But really the persons or people that it's affecting are the consumers, because the tax really directly hits the American companies that are importing those goods. But guess what? They're going to transfer all of that loss, so to speak, and extra charges over to the consumers and get their money back anyway. But go ahead.
Yep. This is who pays tariffs, and this is the AI overview, or what is a tariff? It says a tariff is a tax imposed by a government on imported goods, typically collected by customs authorities. Mm-hmm. It's designed to increase the cost of imported goods, making domestically produced goods more competitive.
Right. Now, who has to pay that extra tariff? That extra tax? Not the corporations that are sending this stuff here, but the corporations in America that are importing those goods in here. All right. So, matter of fact, go to the other one. Mm-hmm. We'll read that real quick.
Who pays tariffs? Mr. Trump has said tariffs, and this is just in the Google, mm-hmm. right? This is from New York Times. It's an excerpt from the New York Times. Mr. Trump has said tariffs are a tax on other countries, but overwhelmingly, American businesses importing the goods pay the tariffs to the Customs and Border Protection.
Right, because they're the ones that collect the tax. Mm-hmm. The individuals that are at the border, pretty much keeping track of what's coming in and what's going out. They're the ones that get the money for those imports. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
It says American businesses importing the goods pay the tariff to Customs and Border Protection when goods enter the United States. Importers may pass some or all of the costs of the tariff to consumers through higher prices.
And that's pretty much who really pays, because, businesses are in business to make money, not to lose money. So they're going to get their money back one way or the other. All right, so now let's go to Daniel chapter 7, verse 9. Because, and then once you read 9, we're going to just jump down to roughly around the 12, 13 verse. But, go ahead and just start off there.
This Daniel 7 and 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit.
Right, so what we're reading right here, just in this one verse, is the whole blueprint of what's going to take place once America goes down, which is the final empire of all empires running or being run by the Edomites. All right, and once this whole system goes down, you're going to have a new system that's going to be established and put in place. And that system that's going to be established and put in place is the kingdom or the empire of the Heavenly Father, Son, the Messiah, who the world ignorantly calls so-called Jesus Christ, but his name is Yahushai Hamashiach. All right, so what Daniel saw was a vision of all of the thrones or the empires of these different nations coming down in this time. And guess what? China or Moab, as they're known in the scriptures, they fall under that also. Okay, go ahead.
I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool.
Which shows and proves that the Heavenly Father is a so-called black man. Go ahead.
His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire.
Right, and that's dealing with the chariots, what the world ignorantly calls UFOs or UAPs, or whatever other new name or abbreviation they want to use for it, or acronym they want to use for it. So jump down, I think it's around the 12th verse. There's read that and just read the 12th verse. Let me see what it says.
Verse 12, as concerning the rest of
beautiful right there.
As concerning the rest of the beasts.
Right. What does it mean as concerning the rest of the beasts? Meaning the rest of the empires of the other nations. All right. This is what's going to take place, because what Daniel saw was the destruction of all these different nations, and what he's given you is pretty much the end all be all, and what's going to happen to these other empires outside of this final empire, which is America, that's going down and going to be destroyed. Go ahead.
As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time.
Right. So their empire was taken down. They had their life and themselves pretty much prolonged for a season, for a time. Why? Because they will still be around, because they are going to be in the future. So 5,000 years from now, yeah, China, so-called China, or Moab, their original biblical name, they will be around. So he was writing what he said, but their mindset is that they're going to be here ruling, in the way and fashion that they're doing, and their mind, since they're, they're winning that economic race, so to speak. They plan on overtaking America and any other nation and becoming the next super or next world rulers. Just like the so-called Arabs believe the same thing. They believe they're going to be the next super world rulers. But there will be a change, of guard, so to speak. But the change of guard will be Yahushai, getting back his rightful place on the throne, and having all nations in subjection under him. And all nations will be servants. They will be slaves. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Was that, read on. Was that was the end of the 12th verse?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go from there. Let's go to Isaiah 14. And if you brothers got any points on these scriptures, anything you want to bring out.
I can I'll bring this out.
Bring it out.
This is Isaiah 16, unless you have
Isaiah
this.
14, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't have it.
Yeah, Isaiah 16 and 6, it says, we have heard of the pride of Moab. He is very proud, even of his haughtiness and his pride and his wrath, but his lies shall not be so.
You could
I'm gonna read it again. It's Isaiah 16 and 6. We have heard of the pride of Moab. He is very proud, and you see that amongst these Moabites.
Yep.
I mean, they do have, what you would call like a so-called rich culture, tradition that dates back 5,000 years. A medicine system, and they've been around. They've been around, and they documented certain things. So they puff themselves up and act like they're going to be the next rulers. They're positioning themselves economically to take the next spot as the rulers of the earth.
Yep.
Because all nations know that once one nation goes down, another nation comes on top.
That's right.
All right, so there's just like this big
Push.
war push
Yep.
to who's going to take the next spot to be the ruler. And you can see Moab puffing themselves up even within that statement, saying they're going to be around another 5,000 years. Right. Like, oh yeah, we going to be around. We can survive anything. Okay. It says he is very proud, and you see that when you go into these places of business with these Moabites, the way that they walk, the way they talk, the way they look down on Jake, even of his haughtiness and his pride and his wrath, but his lies shall not be so. Therefore shall Moab howl for Moab.
Yeah.
Everyone shall. You want to say something?
No, you got it.
Everyone shall howl. All right, yeah, because what does it say in 2 Ezra 16? Woe thou Asia.
Yep. And 15th chapter.
The 15th. Okay, the 15th chapter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Woe thou Asia.
Yep.
Because you Moabites, you drink the wine as well.
Oh yeah.
Your society is crumbling as well. All right, and you actually need America.
Yeah.
All right, because so if America falls, you're gonna fall. But see, these world leaders are thinking that they're gonna somehow position themselves to, there's gonna be some pain, there's gonna be a lot of death, but somehow, some way, they're gonna be able to survive through it. And that's pretty much the statement that Moab said when boasting themselves against Babylon the Great, America.
Yeah, and you're not guiltless. You're just as guilty as America. But you got it.
Yep. It says, for the foundations of Kiraseth shall ye mourn. Surely they are stricken. For the fields of Heshbon languish, and the vine of Shibmah. The lords of the heathens have broken down the principal plant thereof. They are all come even unto Jazer. They wander through the wilderness. Her branches are stretched out.
Yeah, so pretty much, the land of Moab, they're gonna get jacked up too, but we don't know like how much, what percentage of them is gonna get hit, but they will get hit because they are a major superpower and they do possess many nuclear missiles. So there's gonna be certain places on the earth that's gonna get rocked a little bit, but the only two places that's gonna be totally destroyed is America, Babylon the Great, and the land of Israel. That's for sure. That's for certain. All right. So was that it?
Yeah, that was it on that.
Okay, so what you got? You got something? More?
Where you at?
No, I got what you asked for.
Okay. And then you could get, matter of fact, as you mentioned it, you could get that scripture, 2 Ezra 15.
Okay. Yeah.
We could start at like around 28 because we're gonna touch on that vision that the Lord gave to Ezra, and it's heavy because when you go back to Esau's plannings, right, their agenda, one of their plans to pretty much gain control of the world was by having 3 major world wars. That is called the Albert Mazzini blueprint, which was Albert Pike, which was a 32nd degree Mason, and you had Giuseppe Mazzini, and they concocted 3 world wars, and by the end of the Third World War, they would pretty much have the world. And the last world war would be fought between the small hats and Ishmael. And that's exactly what we see going on right now, on the earth. But unbeknownst to them, pretty much that's what the scriptures say. That's going to happen. Because all of the majors, like some of those major players that are going to be in league with Russia are, some of those Muslim nations. They're going to be protected by Russia. So pretty much like Turkey is a member of NATO. They're supposed to be allies with America, but they're pretty much in league with Russia. Okay, so go ahead.
I had a precept.
You had to bring it out.
On a point that y'all was making about how they need America as well.
Oh yeah.
It's Revelation 18:8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire. For strong is the Lord power, who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come.
You want to say something on that?
Yeah, kind. Because they're gonna be, the reason they're gonna bewail, it's like it's gonna mention in the next verse, is because like you brothers was mentioning already, that America is the main one that's importing all the goods from these other nations. So really, that's their main money maker, so to speak, because they're not the ones buying their goods. We're the ones, the Americans are the ones that's buying everything. And like you was going into earlier, that with the tariffs and the taxes, they're going to get passed on to the consumers out here. So we're going to be the main ones affected. And if America's taking out the picture, the other countries make it seem like they don't need America, but really most of your things that are getting bought are from America is buying them.
Oh yeah.
So then once America gets destroyed, that's a big portion of your economy that gets the
Shut
money
down.
that your economy was making get taken away.
And if I say this is to add to you too, because you Moabites are not in control. You're being number one. You're being controlled by Yahweh Shema Shai first and foremost.
Yep.
The king's heart is in the hands of the Lord. Proverbs 21:1.
That's right.
Right, and the Lord, He set up the wicked elite to play to play you basically, because who set you up? The elite set you up.
Yep.
And you going to war economically with America is basically to crash not only the American economy, but your own economy. Not only that, but the Russian economy, the Southeast Asian economy, the Arab economy. Why? Because you're all going to be brought into this new to the old system.
Yep.
All right. So your economy is going to be messed up, just like with the what happened when the whole C-19 thing.
Yep.
Did not Moab shut down?
Oh yeah.
Was not their economy affected? Absolutely. So this is ultimately the kings of the earth are working with each other. They're doing backdoor deals,
Yep.
with each other economically, socially.
Yeah.
All right, and they all have one thing in common. They all want this system to come online.
Yep.
All right,
Digital.
This digital system to come online. They all sold out their population.
Yeah.
Okay, to the wicked elite.
Yep.
Okay, so this whole trade war is really all orchestrated, which so-called Asia, Moab will have, will play a part in destroying America.
Mm-hmm.
Will play a part in destroying America, but also
America,
Moab, and all these other nations, they're going to be destroyed right along with,
Revelation 20.
okay, with America. All you nations are going to go down at the same time. Okay, you're just not going to be utterly destroyed like America's going to be utterly destroyed. Okay, so you will be around for another 5,000 years.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you should have quantified that statement.
Quantify.
All right, you should have said, yeah, we're going to be around for another 5,000 years. All right, in captivity under the Israelites. All right, but we're here to say that. Well, we got to get Lord, so I'm gonna get Numbers, the 24th chapter.
Yep. And that was.
Okay.
No.
All right,
No. You got it. You got
Yeah.
it. No.
We're gonna get Numbers, the 24th chapter, because it was already foreseen pretty much the future of Moab.
That's it.
What was going to happen in the future? Okay. And we're here to tell you. And we don't get on Moab that much, but hey, the spirit every once in a while,
Yeah.
wants us to get on Moab. All right, and that's one of the main nations in Psalms, the 83rd chapter.
Yeah.
It was Esau, Moab, and Ishmael.
Yep.
All right, they were all in lead.
Yeah. All the nations.
All the nations.
But you got top ones.
Yeah, the top ones.
And there's no coincidence that America, Moab, they're up there.
Yep.
Ishmael, they all up there. As far as business is concerned, as far as the economies are concerned.
Yep.
But you go ahead, bro. Finish your point.
Yep. This Revelation
If you
18,
got that in numbers.
Okay,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
bring that out.
verse 11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. And that's pretty much that's what's going to happen. They trying to X out America like they don't need America, but really they do, because that's your main breadwinner. Everybody in America are consumers, and that's what America's been known as since they stopped producing goods and they pushed all the production and everything out to other countries. Now they're known as being a consumer-based society. So the other nations make it seem like they don't need America, but really you do.
Oh yeah.
And that's why they're going to be when they see America be destroyed, because now you lost all that big portion.
Big business.
Yep. Big business. Because that's your main your main cash cow is America, the American citizens.
Yeah, that's how you got great. Well, the very technology that you use to build up your civilization was technology from America. Technology from the Edomites. Really, in general, you got Teman and the so-called Germans.
Yep.
But who set you up? The British set you up. What was his name? I forget his name. Harry Kissinger. If
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, Harry Kissinger set up the Moabites. You know, if I'm not mistaken, it was one of the prominent Edomites. They propped up Moab. What did they say? Okay, the Moab, you're gonna be the factory of the earth. We're gonna move all the production from America, and we're gonna give it to you. And what did that do? That built up their economy. But see, it was a snare unto you,
Right.
or just like it was a snare unto America to export all the production.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, for what? So where when you start taking one domino out of the equation or one puzzle piece out of the equation, it starts to crumble and fall because now it's a world economy.
Yeah.
So if one nation falls, if America falls, everybody's falling.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody has to go into this new system,
Yeah.
and that's the plan of the elites.
Right.
So you guys are all in a trap. Okay.
Yeah, just like if you let a little drop of water get into dry goods or certain, it'll destroy the whole thing if you don't take care of it. You know, so pretty much it's a domino effect. The scriptures speak about a tottering wall. You know, it's like you're gonna come crumbling down like a tottering wall. You know, and that's that domino effect. When you hit one domino, it keeps on hitting the next and the next until they all fall. You know, falling like dominoes. So that was it on that.
Yeah, that was it on
okay,
that.
so you know what? Let's
Second Ezra, or you want to
let's
get
get-
numbers?
Damn, that's a good
that's
one.
it.
That's a good one. Go to numbers, and
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
then from numbers we'll go to the second Ezra.
Kind.
Set it all up.
You want me to kind of go to the point, or you want me to kind of read up?
Read up to where it says the man with that had the vision with his eyes open,
Okay.
and then kind of read into it. It's only maybe like about 4 verses or something like that.
Yeah, this is.
You know, Balaam. You know, he said he had the vision. You know, but he,
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So let me go down then. Yep, this is Numbers 24. Oh yeah. Numbers 24. I'm gonna start at 12. It says,
yeah, because like the elder said earlier, you know, you have we mostly get on Esau because Esau is the top devil right now. But you know, all these nations are going into captivity. Ham, Ishmael, Moab, Ammon, you know, Japheth, all of them are going into captivity. But you got it.
yeah, this is Numbers 24 and 12. And Balaam said unto Balak, Speak I not also to thy messengers, which thou sentest unto me, saying, If Balak would give me his house full of silver and gold.
Jump down.
Yeah, kind of. Verse 14. And now, behold, I go unto my people.
Jump down some more.
Okay.
You know, like in other words, further like not like where you at now?
I'm at 14. I just wanted to read this point for you because it goes
Okay.
into where it says where you want.
Because there's another point a little further down. It says, but go ahead.
Okay. And now, behold, I go unto my people. Come therefore, and I will advertise thee what this people shall do to thy people in the latter days.
Right, and this is the times that we're coming into right now. So we're coming to the last days of the empires of the heathens and the beginning of the empire of Yahushua and of the Israelites. Then this kingdom is going to be an everlasting kingdom. Go ahead.
And it says, and he took up his parable and said, Balaam, the son of Beor, has said, and the man whose eyes are open has said, he has said, which heard the words of the Most High and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw the vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes open.
So the Lord showed him a vision of the future and what's going to happen to these different nations. You know, so these nations, sometimes they'll say certain shit and they're correct on what they're saying, but they have the wrong view on it. You know, like the dude said, we'll be here for another 5,000 years. And you're right. Because the only people that won't be here for 5,000 years is Esau. Because once this society collapses and Esau goes into captivity, you know, that begins the countdown for the annihilation of the Edomites. 1,000 years hardcore slavery, then after that, boom, disappeared forever. You'll never be on the earth again as a people named the Edomites. There'll never be another nation ever on the planet Earth known as the Edomites. You know, now what the Lord's going to do with their spirit, it remains to be seen. We don't know. We could speculate, but, you know, that's left up to the Lord. But go ahead.
Yep, it says, I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob,
That's Yahushua.
And a scepter shall rise out of Israel.
Right, that's the rulership. Go ahead.
And shall smite the corners of Moab.
Right, now somebody look up that word corners in the blue letter to show you that Moab are the so-called Chinese. Now, we don't really go into this that much, but this is showing you that they are the actual Moabites, because process of elimination, there's only a handful of nations in the scriptures, and all of these people out here on the planet Earth, no matter what nation they call themselves, no matter what language they speak, they all go back to one of Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Go ahead.
Pa'ah?
What's that?
Pa'ah.
Yep, pa'ah, which goes back to the word mouth, which really the word mouth is pa, but this is the word pa'ah, and then it goes back to the root word. But go ahead, read some of the definitions.
It says corner, edge,
corner, edge. Go ahead.
Side, quarter, extremity.
Extremity. So where are the Moabites at? They're at the extremities of the world, in comparison to here to America. Go ahead.
It says corner, side. Down in Strong's definition, properly mouth in a figurative sense, direction, region.
Direction, region. That's their region over there in the east. That's why they're known. They're called Orientals. See, when the people hear the word Oriental, they think the word Oriental means Chinese-looking person or Japanese-looking person. No, Orient goes back to the east. That's what the word Orient means. It means east. So Russians are Orientals. East Indians, so-called East Indians, are Oriental. Anyone that's on the east side of the world is considered an Oriental in comparison to the Western world. Go ahead. You wanted to say something?
No, that was pretty much it. End.
All right, so that was it. So the Moab. Now go back and read it again.
Okay. Numbers 24 and 17. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel.
Right. This is at the end when Yahushua comes back to take his rightful place on the planet. Go ahead.
And shall smite the corners of Moab.
Right, because Moab is going to get it. They're going to get fucked up. They're going to get beat down. The word smite means to kill. So when Yahushua comes back, guess what? Some of the, military of Moab is going to be coming against the Lord, and the Lord is going to smoke them out, like it explains in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. So everything is all laid out. So the dude was right. They're going to be here for another 5,000 years, even beyond that. But they're not going to be here as he's thinking. They're going to be servants and slaves. That was at the end of the verse.
And destroy all the children of Seth. Seth.
Right.
Yep.
So now go from there. Go to Isaiah 11. I believe that's the 14th verse, and then get 2nd Ezra. And if your brothers got anything else, y'all can bring it out. This is something that's been on my spirit since yesterday, and if spirit allow, we'll get to more of that. 2nd Ezra 15, starting at the 28th verse. But if you got it, go ahead, read it.
Yep, it's Isaiah 11 and 14. But they shall fly upon the shoulder of the Philistines.
Right, and this is talking about matter of fact, read the 13th verse.
Verse 13, 11 and 13 in Isaiah. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off.
Right, because there's going to be something that's going to happen in the planet, which we're witnessing right now. It's going to bring the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom back together again. Because for years it's been a rivalry, and Esau's painted the narrative that, Judah, or really mainly like the Latin tribes are racist against Judah or the southern kingdom, which a lot of them are, but not all.
Yep.
Because we grew up in a time where, Judah and Ephraim, so-called Negroes, so-called Puerto Ricans, got together. Persecuted, and then got together, had relationships, friendships, marriages and all of that. So that's straight up bullshit. But this is something that Esau does because he wants to keep us divided because he doesn't want the prophecies to come to pass.
Yep.
But what he don't count on is that the Lord has an elect.
That's it.
You want to say something?
Yeah, he didn't count on the Spirit entering into these people.
Yeah, that breath.
The breath. which is that quickening spirit,
Yep.
which made us alive again, and can get past all the barrier that's between our people, and that fleshly barrier that keeps us apart.
Yeah.
And now we're coming together under one in unison under Yahweh Shai. That's how we're actually coming together.
One banner.
One banner. You know, one spirit. We're coming in a spirit now.
Ezekiel 37.
Right? That's the prophecy. Esau didn't take that into consideration, or he did, but the Most High took it out of his mind.
Yep.
You know, because the prophecy is actually happening. But see, Esau is so carnal. He sees it. You know, that's, you know, if Jake is getting together on, you know, some nigga shit, I should say, you know, Esau allows that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
he's okay with that. All right, but the worst thing in Esau's eyes is the tribes coming back together. That's why there's such a push to keep us divided.
Yep.
But
a well-educated Jake, but not educated in this world, educated in the scriptures. That.
Yep. Yeah, that was it. That was it.
Okay,
yeah.
So where we at?
Yeah, okay, you were still in that, huh?
Oh, yeah. Isaiah 11 and 13.
Mm-hmm.
The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim.
Right. Ephraim shall not envy Judah. Judah shall not vex Ephraim. Go ahead.
But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines.
Because once the Lord brings the union of the tribes, remember it says that Lord will bend Judah, fill the bow with Ephraim. You know, so once that combination comes together, that's a powerful combination, man. You know, that's like, you know, Katwab and Damiana. You know, that's like
it.
Wormwood and Gentile.
That's it.
You know, that's like a powerful combination. You know, and it's effective. You know, so that's what Esau is trying to stop. He's trying to stop that, you know, because he's trying to stop the prophecies from coming to pass.
Well, it's like it.
No, you got.
I was just gonna add to that, like the bow and the arrow, that they're incomplete without each other. That creates a perfect weapon now.
Right.
Now you have a weapon.
Right.
When you have the bow and the complete weapon.
Yeah.
You have a complete weapon. All right.
That should be a brother's name. Complete.
That's that's a bad name right there. That's a bad name.
Zion.
Yeah.
Perfect weapon.
Yeah, perfect weapon. You
It's
know?
like a good movie.
Judah and Ephraim is the perfect weapon of Yahweh Shai. Well, it tells you, I believe that's Wisdom of Solomon, the chapter. He said, he shall make the creature his weapon.
Yeah.
You know, and we are the Lord's creature. Okay, his righteous creature that he has created.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to get a new sharp instrument having teeth.
Yep.
We are going to be that new sharp instrument having teeth.
Yeah.
That's the Israelite man. All right, and both tribes are going to come together and not envy each other or not vex each other.
Right.
That's Esau. That's Esau's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, that woman had that dream about 144,000. He said, well, they got power. He said they had got power. She said her husband was one of the 144. You know, so I don't know who she is.
Yeah.
But you know, she said they were up in the air looking down at I forget exactly how she worded the calamities of the people, but she said her husband, you know, she said they had that light, you know, that glow, you know, so it was heavy, man.
That's heavy.
Yeah, you know, so the Lord gonna give his elect that power, you know, and that's why the nations are not going to be able to rebel, because first of all, you're going to be under the authority of the Most High Yahweh, the Almighty, the Most High. You get no higher. Then his son Yahweh Shai, the angels, the Israelites. Come on, man. Ain't no chance for you devils to escape anything that's coming, including you Moabites.
Yep.
So-called Chinese. You know. That was it.
Okay. You done on that?
Oh, just a little bit more. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west, and they shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them.
So we're gonna lay hands on you, you devils, you Edomites, you nations, you Moabites, you Ammonites, you Philistines, all of you nations. We're gonna lay hands on you, and it's not talking about laying hands of healing. It's gonna be laying on hands, like it's gonna be a Micah 4:13 laying of hands. It's gonna be a Revelation 2:26 laying of hands. Ha. Can I get an amen? You know, but that's the laying on the hands is gonna be. It's gonna be Yahushua, when he comes back, he's gonna rule with a rod of iron.
That's right.
He gonna rain on you devils. He gonna rain on you Moabites. He gonna get his pound of flesh.
That's for sure.
You know, so you Moabites will be here for another 5,000 years and even more than that. But it's not how you think it's gonna be. Where we at?
Second Esdras,
Before you read that, go to
Isaiah 14. Or,
no, the other one. Did we read Isaiah 14?
no, we didn't read it. Where it's talking about the kings of the earth lay in glory.
Yeah, go to Revelation 20 and verse 5, because Revelation 20 and 5 is talking about the kingdom. And we're in the kingdom of heaven, dealing with these nations. We read in Daniel the 7th chapter that the rest of the dead live not again to the no, I'm sorry, that's in Revelation 20.
Yeah.
Revelation, I'm sorry, Daniel the 7th chapter, it spoke about the dead that had the dominion taken away, but their lives were preserved for a season. You know, because why? They are still going to be around. We need slaves.
That's right.
We can't take them all out.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yep, this
And
Revelation,
if you want to get Isaiah 14, you
Okay.
can get that too.
Revelation 20 and 5.
I think it starts at 9. Go ahead.
But the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished.
Right. So when you read this, I know those of you that are newer to this, you know, you're going to have to keep watching, because there's a whole breakdown of Revelation 20 and different other chapters going into the Renaissance period and going into the Roman Empire when they fell and came back into power, all the way up until today to America. So what we're reading right here in this particular verse is the second part of the 1,000 years, which is the 1,000 years of the kingdom of heaven. When it speaks about the dead, it's talking about the other nations. Why does it represent them as being dead? Because in the kingdom of heaven, they're going to be servants. Servants do not have rights except for the rights that the master gives them, or the rights of the master. And who are going to be the masters? The Israelites. You know, the scriptures speak about in Obadiah how they shall be as though they had not been when they go into captivity. When you're as though you had not been, that means you are not recognized. The scriptures say we're not recognized among the nations, right? We wouldn't be reckoned among the nations. So to the world, we're like nobody's, insignificant. So that's how the slaves are going to be in the kingdom. They're going to be insignificant. You're only going to be as great as your master is, meaning that you're, you know, okay, that's your master. Oh, you got a great master, and that's it. You know, you ain't going to get that accolade because you had your time here in this world.
Yep. And the Most High has never dealt with you nations on that level of giving you his breath.
Ever.
Making you actually alive. But what makes you alive is the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai. Are you other nations are just beasts. All right, and you were created. Really your purpose was to serve the Israelites.
That's it.
You know, each nation has their their use. You know, like a spoon, right? A spoon is used to scoop up things.
Right.
A fork is used
To
to stab things. A knife is used to cut things. Right? Just like the Elamites, they're going to be used for a particular task. The Moabites, a particular task. Even Edomites, they have their particular task before extermination.
That's it.
All right, and you're going to go right back to your rightful place under the Israelites, and you will be there for another 5,000 years.
That's it.
But you will be under the Israelites, okay, given reverence and gifts,
Yep. Tribute. Homage.
okay, to the Israelites. Oh, that is your lot as the Moabites.
That's it.
Okay, nothing more. You're gonna serve the Israelites. All right.
All that pride is going to be bust down. And not in that fashion either. You know, all your pride is going to come down. You know, them Ammonites, they're proud as hell. Guess what? They're going to obey. You know, Esau, the proudest nation on the planet, they're going to obey. You're not going to fight against this. You're not going to try to, you know, even if you dreamt about trying to revolt, you're going to wake up and apologize. You know, because you're not going to have a chance. See, here you had slaves that did escape. The so-called, you know, the Underground Railroad.
Yep.
You got certain slaves that escaped. When you go back to when Esau first got to the islands, Hispaniola, Hatwe had men with him. He was a cacique, which was a ruler, and they fled to Cuba.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like you know, you had slaves that escaped from you. You had the so-called Haitians, the tribe of Levi.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
revolted against
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
They gained independence from you in 1804. You know, you're not gonna have any wins like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is your wins here. These are your gains. You know, but the gains and the wins that you got have been ill-gotten gains,
Ill-gotten gains.
and now you got to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so where we at?
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Was that it on that?
Uh,
Revelation 2. I mean, yeah, 20 and 5.
It was just a little bit more.
Go ahead.
But the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection.
The first resurrection is the next 1,000 years of the kingdom. The first resurrection goes hand in hand with the Israelites of the elect that will have the first dominion, beginning with the 144,000 the prophets. You know, underneath Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay, go ahead.
Blessed and holy is he that have part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power, but they shall be priests of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and of
The second death is speaking about the nuclear missiles,
That's right.
because that's what's going to pretty much finish off the kings of the earth, you know, and their rulership down here on the earth. Because simultaneously as the missiles are coming, Yahweh Shai is coming to do what? To take all the crowns off their head. Meaning not to actually physically take a crown, but to put them under his feet and to subjugate them through that power. Okay, and then the Israelites come down New Jerusalem, come and shackle all the heathen up and put them to work. Okay, it's going to be a lot of work in the kingdom of heaven and continual employment. And you Moabites, you're going to be working. All right, you're gonna be working non-stop. But we're gonna be lawful. You're gonna get a Shabbat off, you know, a Sabbath. But that's the only time you're gonna get off. Okay.
Right. Like the elder pastor said, you're gonna reverence the Sabbath more than anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna be looking forward to that day.
Yeah.
All right, so where we at? That was it, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
Revelation, Isaiah 14, start at 9, and then we'll hit 2nd Ezra 15,
Okay.
and then we can close it out from there. Or, you know, if the Spirit still got it going, let's go.
Okay. Isaiah 14:9. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming.
That's the Lord speaking to you, Edomites. Hell from beneath, in other words, the condition of hell, that low condition, you know what you got to look forward to, Esau? Look at what happened to us as a nation. You got that plus double that to look forward to. You know, so hell from beneath, you know, or the grave, or you being in a dead state, that's what you got to look forward to. Having no more rights, having no more riches, being told what to do, being beaten into submission, you know, being, you know, a servant for forever until you're taken out. 1,000 years.
Until your use is up.
That's
you
it.
know, like you got a pair of shoes and you use. There was a good pair of shoes, but you just used them until what? You couldn't use them no more. And that's pretty much what the Most High is going to do with Esau, yeah.
Edom. That's
Edom.
It. Esau and Edom.
Esau, right? That's what basically what the Most High is going to do with Edom, which is, you know, he's going to get everything that he need out of you, and then he's going to terminate you.
That's it. You want to say something?
Oh, no.
You good? Okay.
Okay.
So good.
It says, even all the chief ones of the earth, it has raised up from their thrones.
Right. Who's the chief ones of the earth? That's these other nations.
Okay. It has raised up their thrones, all the kings of the nations.
Right. So the nations have rose up against you now. You know, they're coming against you, but in the kingdom, they're gonna really come against you because they're gonna be like, this mother effer, we trusted you. You know, you did all this shit to us. They're gonna get a pound of flesh off of you. So everybody gonna get a piece of you, Esau. So you're gonna be through. THRU. You're gonna be through.
Yeah. What the scripture saying in Job, the earth shall rise up against them. So the whole earth is gonna rise up against Esau, okay, when he falls, man. Okay, the animals, the trees gonna come to life in the kingdom of heaven. They gonna wrap, you know, like in the Lord of the Rings where the trees came to life and shit.
Yeah.
They gonna be grabbed, you know. Esau was the trolls, and they was fucking the trolls up. They was killing them. Okay, the trees are gonna get their payback. The birds are gonna get their payback. The
Yeah.
wild beasts are gonna get their payback, as well as the other nations. They're gonna get their payback on certain levels as well.
Oh yeah.
Okay, they're gonna jack you up. Well, we gonna have taskmasters.
Oh yeah.
Okay, of these other nations over Esau, and they're gonna know all the things that they have done unto them, and then they're gonna, in comparison, what they have, what we've done. We really haven't done anything to these nations.
No.
They came against us. Okay.
It was just a punishment, but that's all right. It says, "Well, comfort ye, my people. Tell Jerusalem that a warfare is accomplished." Our time is up. As far as us catching hell, now is your time.
That's it.
Scriptures say that the curses that came upon us, they're gonna come upon you.
Yep.
So go ahead.
All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we?
Right, and that's why the nations are puffing at you, because you used to be the economic power, superpower, the military superpower of the world. But now, you don't have that power anymore like you used to. Now, the nations have gotten to a point where they're more independent of you. Because if they weren't independent, then how were they able to, come together in certain unions of nations to be able to sustain themselves outside of America? Years ago, I don't know if they had something called the Shanghai Cooperation. So I don't know if they still have, if it's still going. Then you have the BRICS nations, and you have many nations joining the BRICS. It was Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And now you have other nations that join them. Because at the end of the day, all these different nations have one single enemy in mind. They found out that through the process of elimination and through all of the shit that you've been doing, they found out that the main problem of the planet Earth are the so-called American Edomites. Even your own, cracker kind, as brothers used to say back in the day, even they're tired of your shit. Them so-called European nations like the French and the, and the British, and even all them nations, they're tired of your ass. Go ahead.
Yep. Even Esau's tired of Esau.
Yep.
It says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials.
Right, your pomp is your hubris. Hubris is extreme pride. And you are a pompous motherfucker, man. You are a super proud devil. Even today, whenever you be around these devils, they just have that arrogant spirit about them.
Reeks off of them.
And pretty much you ain't shit. You're a fucking baseman. You're a goddamn caveman. You're a wild woos. You're the wild man.
Yeah, the wildling.
You ain't nothing. But you bought your own bullshit. You really believe that you are somebody when you're not. You are not somebody. I don't care what they told you. I don't care what bullshit you bought. You ain't nobody. And you're going to be found out to be nobody. Because you're going to go right back to your position as a peasant.
It says, and the noise of the
Erosion.
and worm.
Point was the nations,
Yeah.
the part of nations, that they're going to rise up against you. These kings of these nations are going to rise up against you. And they're going to say, thou become weak as we. Your economy is fucked up. Your military is not what it used to be. Your sway and control of the world is not what it used to be.
Yep.
Nations are not falling for that anymore. You don't have that enchanting power that you had at one time. That magic is gone that you had. Your magic ain't working anymore.
And your population is filled with nothing but weirdos.
Oh my goodness.
And sodomites.
Yep.
And
We're like in one of the capitals of
we literally in one of the most liberal places, Berkeley, California. We're in one of the most liberal places in the earth.
Yep.
Where transhumanism, LGBT,
Everything.
all right, they do a lot of what's it called, with the merging with man and machine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
What is that?
Yeah,
Basically like transhumanism.
yeah, basically.
what's that?
Internet of Things.
IoT, Internet of Things.
IOB, Internet of Bodies.
Yeah, IOB, Internet of
You
Bodies
know,
also. Yep.
basically a lot of that technology comes out of here.
The
Yep.
You
fourth
got
revolution.
the first industrial revolution. You got fintech, which
Yep.
is financial tech, which that's all evolves around MOTB system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got the blockchain, all that shit came out of here.
Yep. AI agents.
The AI, the crypto, all that is the cesspool. Well, you have like Facebook and all that.
Neuralink.
That was all Neuralink.
Dang.
All that is out here in the Bay Area, man.
Let's
Mm-hmm.
go.
Okay, merging man with machine. You have also the LGBTQ,
XYZ.
XYZ plus.
Church of Satan.
Oh, the Church of Satan was started out here. You got witching covens out here.
Yep.
You got a lot of heavy demonic activity out here.
Yeah.
All right,
It's draining too.
it literally drains you. You know, it's because Esau, he plays with energy.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of radio frequencies that they're blasting and they're testing out here.
Yep.
You know, so that's another reason why the people are so bugged out here. You know.
Yeah. And that's another reason why the Most High is going to destroy this place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so all of you nations are through, man. You know, you're gonna talk your shit. You're gonna keep, saying no, that ain't true. This we're gonna prevail and blah blah. All right, well, keep saying that, keep thinking that. Because at the end of the day, we're gonna see. But go ahead.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Okay, so let's go to Second Ezra real quick. Matter of fact, you could go straight to the point when it deals with Asia.
Okay, that's an
Yeah, because I want Second Ezra 15. Has to be around 30, 31, 32.
What does it say?
It says woe unto thee, Asia.
Oh, that's 16. No?
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
16:1.
Oh, that's the 16. Go to the one that's 15.
Okay.
And thou, Asia,
Okay.
was a partaker with Babylon.
Okay.
Because, woe to the Asia, that's the second is 16. Yep.
Yep. Second Ezra's.
And we could even hit that one too. Good.
Second Ezra's 15 and 46. And
Yeah.
now Asia, that are partaker of the hope of Babylon.
Right, because your man said we're going to be around for China's going to be around for another 5,000 years. So basically they're saying that they're going to prosper and continue on to be in, an empire status or dynasty status regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead.
Yep. It says, and thou Asia, thou art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person.
What does it mean, out the glory of a person? Meaning you have become like her. You have, taken on the persona of America, Babylon the Great. Go ahead.
Yep. It says, woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her.
Right, you made yourself just like America. Now, China still has their culture, the Buddhism and whatever other gods they worship, and their culture and dress and all that. But for the most part, you have incorporated a lot of the lifestyles of America there in China. So you have become like this place. Why? Because you have become immersed in the ways of the whore. Go ahead.
Yeah, they like when John saw the whore, he was an aberration of the whore. And that's how those Moabites looked at America. They wanted to be just like America. All right, they set their whole society up literally just like America. Well, what do the Chinese do? The businessmen, the government. What do they wear? They wear suits.
Yep.
Okay.
I was just literally thinking about that.
Yeah, they wear suits. What do? They speak English.
They want to have the open eyes.
The open eyes. They do
eyes.
they do the surgery to have the open eyes. They try to speak with a American or a English accent.
Yep.
Because they want to be like America. They're not really trendsetters. They're able to copy shit.
Yep.
And do it more efficiently. Okay, and with cheaper labor.
Yep.
And that's why they were used to build up the as the manufacturing hub of the world. Okay.
Yes,
Let
sir.
me continue.
Good.
And it reads, it says, and has decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers.
Yep.
Which
which is America's for what? For benefits. Go ahead.
which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. It says, thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works.
Right, and you followed America that's hated in all the works. That's where the Most High is going to destroy this place. Go ahead.
Yep. It says, thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore, says the Most High. Well, they have a crisis where women, women are now in the workforce and they're making a whole bunch of money. Now they have a birth population decline because the women, they want so-called high value men, and they have. This is like a crazy epidemic. It's like almost worse in China than it is here in America.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
Where the women, they want this man to make this type of money, that type of money, and give a dowry and do this and do that.
Damn.
To where now the population is actually falling because they're not marrying.
Damn.
Or they're not having children. But that was bought on from what? That was bought on from America. The women, the so-called women's liberation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn. That's and that just goes to show you, on all levels, all these nations are doing the same shit that America's doing. They still keep their little customs and all that, but at the end of the day, who they desire to be like? Esau. Hey, because they want, they want to have, like the women want to have children with Edomite men, so that their babies can come out looking, don't look so yellow. They have the regular looking eyes, not the slanty eyes.
Yep. It says, therefore said the Most High, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death.
So you're not going to, be here for another 5,000 years like you think, because the Lord's going to, bring an end to your empire, to your dynasty. Go ahead.
Yep. It says, and the glory of thy power shall be dried up as a flower. The heat shall.
Wait a minute. The glory of thy power shall be dried up like a flower. So basically, you ain't gonna be here for another 5,000 years, in the capacity that you are right now, because you're gonna be in captivity, as we read in many other scriptures that we read in this lesson, and many other brothers have read in their lessons. Apostles, elders, bishops, and brothers have read in their lessons. Go ahead.
It says, and the glory of thy power shall be dried up as a flower. The heat shall arise that is sent over thee.
Right, because there's going to be certain parts of Moab. Remember, the Lord said He's going to smite the corners of Moab. So there's going to be certain parts of Moab that's going to get, they're going to get touched. Now, how it's going to happen, we don't know. But we know that great earthquake that's going to hit the world is going to cause a lot of devastation among these nations.
Yep.
That was it on that, right?
A little more.
Go ahead.
Yeah. It says, and it says, thou shalt be weakened as a poor woman with stripes.
Right. So you're going to be weak. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Lord's going to beat you down. A poor woman, well, you see a woman is already weak.
Yeah.
But
old.
But old.
Locked
up. Yeah, locked up. Senile, weak. One fall can take her out.
Yep.
And then you hit her with stripes. That's how messed up the Most High is going to bring Moab, as well as the rest of you nations.
Yeah.
Okay. It says, as one chastened with wounds.
So you got wounds on you already, and then somebody beating you on top of the wounds that you already got. God damn.
So that the mighty and lovers shall receive thee.
Right, because America is going to be, they're going to be looking for to escape the destruction that's going to come upon them. So no one's going to be able to save you. So you're going to be here for another 5,000 years plus, but not like you think. You dig? All right, yeah, brother, got anything else? Any closing words? So with that, we pray that your brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time we say, Shalom. Hey,